Hello, my name is Dr. Rachel Fredrickson, and I am the bassoon professor here at the University of the Incarnate Word in San Antonio, Texas. Today's video is about the 2025-2026 All-State Etude number 2 or Milde Concert Study number 3. Thank you so much for joining me as I share my thoughts and things that I commonly hear as a all-state judge. I've been serving as an all-state judge for the last 3 years, and I just wanted to give some extra encouragement and other things to think about as you progress through this year's process. So let's get started. In this etude, this is all very long lyrical lines and lots of room for musicality, and you probably at this point already know how this piece goes rhythm-wise and have most of these notes under your fingers, if not all of them, I hope, at this point. But some things to think about as you guys go through this piece. With these longer lyrical lines, especially if you think of this in 9/8, I want you to really focus in on your vibrato for this one. And you may be asking, okay, well, how do I do vibrato? And think about that. How do you physically do this? I always try to think about using it from my diaphragm, and sometimes, because I do sing as well, it sometimes kind of radiates from my vocal cords right here, but we really want this vibrato to run more along our ear. Ways to practice this, if you haven't been taught by your own lesson teacher by now, is to do a ha-ha or ho-ho exercise, in that you are pulsing deliberately different subdivisions. So let's take this opening note, for example, this E flat in the staff. I use a B flat and 2 fingering because to me it's a little bit more muted, especially since this piece starts on the softer side, right? So let's think about this. I have my metronome on the stand, and I'm just going to take you through how I train my students to use vibrato. So I'm going to set the metronome to about 60 on the quarter note. And with this piece, or this exercise, I'm going to pulse the quarter note first. And I'm really thinking about engaging my lower abs here. And I always give this image for my students. Imagine that you're inside an already inflated balloon. Your vibrato is you poking the inside of the balloon and making it stretch, right? So the vibrato is you just doing this, but with your muscles, obviously not your finger. You can't do this as you are playing. So I hope that image gives you an idea of what I'm talking about. And I always like to say, squeeze your butt cheeks together or push your heels into the floor to give you the absolute best support, especially as you climb in the registers. So here's the pulsing exercise. I'm going to go through a measure of quarter notes, a measure of eighth notes, a measure of triplets, and then a measure of 16th notes, and then I'll do it backwards. So try that on your own and see if that actually, doing that back and forth and increasing or decreasing your tempo from 60 is just a really good tempo to start at, if that makes a difference in your vibrato, because then once you apply it to the piece, then you're able to vary it because you've had practice and you're training your body to do that, and that will allow for bigger ideas in your phrases. And I usually use vibrato as an increase or decrease in dynamic. So when I get louder, I will increase my vibrato, and when I get softer, I decrease it. So let's just take the opening phrase, and I want you to listen to how I decorate this phrase with the vibrato. So I did this really slow, just so that you guys could have an idea of what I'm trying to accomplish in that. And experiment on your own. I hope that that gives you an idea of what you might like to do. With my students, I always recommend, in this particular etude, anything that is a dotted quarter note or longer. Put a squiggle over it. That is where it's a perfect opportunity to put vibrato in. Then take the ending, for example. We have this really beautiful decrescendo into basically niente, or nothing. So let me start. How about that last line in a measure so that you can hear the end part and how we get really still with the vibrato there. You might have heard a little bit of vibrato on the lower E flat because I'm bringing out the fact that this is the final 5-1 chord progression. I use theory a lot in my students' lessons, so if you haven't had a chance to really talk about this or analyze this yourself, this is a great piece to do this with. The other thing that I frequently see, or at this point here, in auditions for the all-state music at the state level round, is that things, especially on the slower etudes, tend to be a little rushed. So there is a lot of black on this page, right? So just take a calm tempo, make sure that you are really feeling every single note in your fingers, and that you are connecting everything with your air. And how we achieve that is making sure that every single note touches, not just by the slur, but with connection of the air. So what do I mean by that? I mean, think about this in your practicing, are you completely supporting your notes? Are you engaged in your lower abdomen, your pelvic floor, throughout the entirety of all of these note changes? And another a thing that you might find is when your notes crack or they might stop, that could be a sign that you're not completely supporting all the way through. So just do a lot of recording yourself, listen back, and just think about those things. So a spot, how about the odd tempo right before the end of the first little part of this cut. This is because it goes up and down the staff. In the tenor clef, you have a few leaps in there. This is a spot where we really need to make sure we're completely supported. Right? So I am making sure that I am engaged that whole time so that all the low notes, especially at the end, will speak. And when you decrescendo, that's even more important for you to be engaged the whole time and making sure that you don't stop your air. That's the biggest thing. Do not stop your air. And then a couple other tidbits is are you truly playing the dynamic you think you are? This is a very important thing for you to go back and record yourself and listen back. We do this all the time, and this is also a chance for you to think about how this piece speaks to you. What sort of story are you trying to tell with this music? Think beyond correct notes and rhythms. Now that you're past your Regents auditions, this is the next level to help you stand out as a higher percentage of bassoonists that get to go forward in this process, right? So I find this piece very introspective. There are moments of angst or anguish. Some might say anxious. I don't feel anxious in this piece too much, not unless I don't think I have a reed that will achieve those high C's, but think about stepping down on those high notes and you'll feel a lot better about it, because the voicing doesn't hugely change between like a G and that high C. So keep listening to this video to hear my performance of this, and feel free to reach out to me with any questions, and I look forward to hearing some of you at the next stage in the process. Check out my other videos for Etude 1 and Etude 3. Thank you so much.